President Trump told a crowd in Ohio today that his border wall has, as he put it, already started. In a tweet he sent out yesterday, he said, quote, "Great briefing this afternoon on the start of our southern border wall," and he posted these photos. Turns out, however, those photos were anything but the start of something new. Here's an excerpt from our report last hour from CNN's Gary Tuckman, who went down there.
The pictures were taken here. We're standing in Imperial County, California, in the city of Calexico. On the other side of this fence, the city of Mexicali, Mexico. This is not the start of a southern border wall. The fence here is new, but it's a long-awaited replacement fence.
And Gary also reported there's actually been some sort of fencing there since as early as the 1920s. Back now with our panel. Does it seem, Brian, weird that the president is saying this is the start of the long-awaited border wall when in fact it's just replacing fencing that's existed, I think, was put up under the Bush administration?
You know, I'm not in the White House, so I can tell you what the thought process was. But knowing the president, he probably sees this as the first step, sort of replacing the old wall with some new wall before we move on to the next step of putting the further wall along the border. Like I said, I wasn't part of it, but I can just see him saying this is the first step of many steps that we're going to see.
By the way, I've been at the border many times, and when you say there was a wall there, I mean, there was a fence with, huge gaps in it. So,
nothing
this
even
is
close
a big
to a
issue.
wall.
But
no, but that's not true. That's pretty much the exact same wall that was being replaced. They're just replacing it. They're not building.
Well, I'm
one of
talking
the
about.
prototypes.
I was in San Diego. This was maybe 8 or 10 years ago. But I mean, not only was there not a wall, there wasn't even a fence, and people were just going right through the the holes in the fence and coming over at night. But look, I think this is going to be a very interesting issue to watch.
To that point, the president has not started to build a wall in that area where you were in San Diego.
Well,
right? Because
he wants a wall all the way
but it
through
hasn't
the Rio
started.
Grande.
It hasn't actually started, correct? I mean, they're just replacing a wall, which is what they do, replacing old fencing, which is what they've done for.
Well, look, he can't build the wall if he doesn't have the money to do it. And,
right, but he's claiming he is building the wall. I mean, that's what he's saying. So isn't that weird?
Well, the wall is being built, but they don't have enough money to finish it. That's the problem.
It's not being built. I mean, where actually is the wall being built in the ground that is actually, a wall?
The new wall.
They put up like various prototypes to look at them, but they're not actually building a new wall.
Like I said, he probably sees the replacement of this old wall.
Am I going crazy?
No, listen, he sees this replacement of this old wall with new additional wall. It's probably the first steps to the broader wall.
But you can see a chicken as a penguin, but it's still a chicken.
I mean, this is what Donald Trump does. Like, why Donald Trump, what he says to himself in his head when he lies constantly, and who knows?
What's the lie?
The lie is that this is not the beginning of the wall that he has promised. It's just a routine replacement of a fence by another fence.
The Democrats won't allow him
to
build
that's the same question.
If
you want to say they're not building my wall, but it's the Democrats' fault.
Some of the money, but very little of it.
But that's not what happened here. They're replacing part of a fence. This is, the fence. They're not.
He's not saying I can't get the money for the wall. He's saying
building much of the wall.
No. The president said, "Here's a picture. See this fence moving. We're building the new fence." He's not.
I do think
he's fixing a broken part of an old fence.
I think that clearly this is something that's politically concerning about him, right? Because this was the signature proposal in his campaign. Immigration is the most important issue, I think, linking him to his base. If that wall doesn't get built, right, I think it potentially deflates a little bit some of his support. You're seeing Ann Coulter going out there saying he needs a primary. He needs a primary challenge. So I think that's why he's anxious about this. So he lies.
Let's talk about the politics.
Let's just put the tweet up again because I really think I'm going crazy. What does it say? This is the start. It says, "Great briefing this afternoon on the start of our southern border wall." This is not the start of the southern border wall. This is the pre-existing wall that's been there for a long time, and they're just...
Well, he's fortifying it. But look, you talk about the politics of this. I just cannot figure this out. Why are the Democrats... We have a $4 trillion federal budget, right? $4 trillion. The Democrats, the only thing... I've been doing this up for so long on the budget, the only thing I've ever seen the Democrats not want to spend money on is a wall that will secure our border. Why is it?
Why is this an issue? Because I thought Mexico was going to pay for it.
Right.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen, but we should have Congress on it. But nobody answers the question. Why?
Because you know what? Because the idea of securing the border against enemy combatants is a lie. There are no enemy combatants coming across the border from Mexico. There are refugees from Central America who we should treat with basic human kindness.
Keep out the drug runners and the illegal immigrants and so on.
No.
What?
Because first of all, it's
they come right across the border.
It's a terrible immigration policy, and it doesn't speak to the real
Well,
issues
the
of
American
immigration.
people want it. I mean, if
One,
look,
No,
if
actually,
there was
they
a war
don't. The
in
American
No, the
people want
American
comprehensive
people do
immigration
not.
reform,
Well,
actually.
Trump
voted
won.
for Donald Trump because he asked for a wall.
He actually lost the popular
is-
vote.
Well, because he competed for the electoral college. He won the presidency.
I think we're going to talk
He
a
won
little
the
about the
presidency.
2020
I-
election.
I guess
The
for me this is,
2020 election
but
should be
this
a
is
rough
really
one.
more
Everybody
about
else
this is
will
more
come
just
in.
about lying. I mean,
Yes,
this is just
it's not-
that's
yes.
why I'm sort
mean-
of curious about this and it's actually the second time they've lied about this. Mick Mulvaney lied about this early on in the administration from the White House podium, where he held up pictures saying, stuff has started on the
Right.
border. This is the beginning. When in fact, again, all they were doing was just repairing some old fences.
This is what I wonder. The lying issue
Which
is
they did if they did it under Obama, you wouldn't say, oh my God, Obama's building a new southern border wall. You would saying, oh yeah, Obama's repairing some fencing. Or George W. Bush, you'd say, oh yeah, he's
Is that
repairing
the one
some
that
fencing.
Hillary supported? Because she did support a barrier between Mexico and the U.S.
Well, I mean, if Clinton was president, I don't think you'd say she's building a border
Right.
wall.
Yes.
You'd say, oh
Fixing
yeah,
the
she's
wall.
repairing fencing. I wish she would build a border wall.
But Anderson, the bigger issue here really is, because we've devolved into a conversation about whether lying is lying and then into policy about whether lying is lying, is that this president, his facts are just wildly irrelevant. And he'll say whatever he wants, whatever he needs, and then say those who disagree are fake news to try to keep his part of the base together. And it really is a disservice to the American people and a real...
No. The disservice
lying
is that
a
Congress
disservice.
will not-
No, please, sir.
Congress will not appropriate the money for the wall that the
This is
American
not a
people voted for.
question about that. This is a question about why is he lying to America?
Stephen, you agree he's not telling the truth here?
I honestly don't get your point. I mean, he wants a large sum of money to build a big, beautiful wall.
He
to
can
use
tweet-
his
he
term.
can tweet
and
that out.
Congress, the Democrats,
Right.
Chuck Schumer and Nancy
Right.
Pelosi,
But he's
won't
not
allow
saying
him
that.
to
What
do
he's
it.
saying is, we've begun. It's begun.
But they have begun. They have begun fortifying the wall, but they don't have the funds
we were
to
just
do
down
it.
there. That's literally not
That's
a
one
new wall.
picture.
See,
I mean,
this is what's so disturbing. Like, this is the impact
what
of
he's
Trump
referring
on
to.
you,
This
right? Like,
is-
you've
That's the
lost
picture
the
he tweeted
capacity
out.
to understand a distinguish basic reality from falsity. Like, that's what's happening to our country as a
Exactly.
result of this
Wait,
guy.
you don't
Hold
think
on,
he
let me
wants
say
to-
something.
No,
we had the
yeah,
last
your
we had
point.
the last administration look at the American people and say you can keep your doctor. Was that a lie?
It's something that...
Yeah,
So
it was a lie,
so
and shame on them.
Yep, it's a lie. So what we
I'm
say
not
is
saying Donald
presidents
Trump's the first
embellish.
person to ever lie in office.
Yeah.